The internet doesn't forget. And when someone builds their entire empire on the image of raw masculinity, primal health, and ancestral authenticity, while secretly juicing harder than a Tour de France cyclist in the 90s, it tends to come back and bite hard. That's exactly what's happening with the Liver King, aka Brian Johnson, who once strutted around the digital plains as the self-crowned deity of raw liver, sun exposure, and bull testicles. But now, after a Netflix documentary and a bizarre challenge to Joe Rogan, the mask has slipped, and it's pretty clear he's spiraling, and the career he built may be on the verge of extinction. The Netflix documentary didn't just peel back the curtain on his lifestyle, it dragged it off the rail and threw it into a bonfire. From the very beginning, it was hard to watch without cringing. Here was a man so intoxicated by his own persona, it became nearly impossible to tell where Brian Johnson ended and Liver King began. The screen oozed with awkwardness as he passionately doubled down on his ancestral narrative, despite years of mounting evidence and an infamous $11,000 a month steroid habit that exploded into the public eye after YouTuber Derek from More Plates, More Dates pulled the receipts. The guy wasn't just dabbling, he was swimming in anabolic sauce. Yet instead of addressing it like a man rooted in transparency, as he constantly claims to be, he continued to perform this half-baked theater of denial. Even now, long after the exposure, he insists he's natural again. Back in my 20s, he claims, not on anything, I'm on this, vegetables and testicles. But the visual evidence says otherwise. The guy looks more jacked than ever, despite supposedly ditching all performance-enhancing drugs. It's not just implausible, it's insulting to anyone with even a basic understanding of fitness and physiology. The documentary gave a front-row seat to the chaos behind the primal curtain. Behind the bull testicle breakfasts and liver-laden dinners was a man clearly chasing validation. His childhood struggles, growing up without a father, feelings of inferiority, awkwardness, and isolation seemed to have morphed into an obsession with hypermasculinity. He openly admitted to idolizing 80s action stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger, treating them as father figures. That obsession mutated into a need to become not just strong, but the image of strength itself, shredded, loud, theatrical, and untouchable. And that's where the Liver King persona was born. But the documentary revealed something darker beneath the abs and bombast. There was a striking disconnect between Johnson and the reality around him. Instead of showing growth or reflection after being exposed, he clung tighter to the fantasy, as if the lie could outlive the truth if he just shouted louder. His social media presence ramped back up like nothing ever happened, with more shirtless yelling, more raw organ meats, and now, unbelievably, a challenge to Joe Rogan. Yes, the same Joe Rogan who called him out on his podcast way back in 2022, mocking the Liver King's false claims and calling him a fake natural. That clearly struck a nerve. Fast forward to now, and Brian Johnson's idea of damage control is dressing up in a wolf head hat, wielding gold-plated guns, and challenging a trained jiu-jitsu black belt to a $1 million charity fight. The video clips were unhinged, to say the least. "Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out," he declared. "Man to man, I'm picking a fight with you. I have zero training in jiu-jitsu, you're a black belt. You should dismantle me." And yet, he still says he wants the fight. That's not damage control. That's desperation. It's the behavior of someone trying to force virality by any means necessary. Someone who knows the empire is crumbling and is now throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. Because the truth is, his brand was built not just on muscles and meat, but on the idea that he was an honest messenger of a pure lifestyle. That illusion was his golden ticket. Once it broke, everything else followed. And no one felt that more than his own family. Watching his older son in the documentary was like watching someone trapped in a surreal, meat-scented episode of Black Mirror. The kid looked fed up, not just tired of the raw meat at dinner or the endless filming for social media, but exhausted by the pressure of being part of a lifestyle brand rather than a family. One moment he's being filmed eating raw beef. The next, he's trying to joke about how miserable he looks, throwing subtle jabs at his father with his facial expressions. It's painfully obvious he just wants a taste of normal life. His younger brother, on the other hand, still seems more on board with the whole primal circus. But then again, younger kids often go with the flow until they hit the same realizations. And the mother fully bought in. From directing TikToks to helping gut a freshly shot bull for content, she's knee-deep in the performance. Together, they've turned family life into a marketing campaign, eating eyeballs and organ meats with a smile while the cameras roll. But behind all the cowheart smoothies and motivational grunts lies a deeply troubling trend, the blending of persona and person. Brian Johnson built the Liver King from scratch, inspired by the teachings of primal health advocate Mark Sisson. Then he cranked it up to an absurd degree, eating raw organs on camera, walking shirtless through cities, inventing 9 ancestral tenets, and selling supplements that promised to restore lost masculinity. And people bought it, not just the liver pills, but the image. At its peak, his supplement company had over 250,000 customers. Then came the exposure. Derek's video confirmed what many suspected: Liver King wasn't natural. Not even close. His stack reportedly included testosterone, Deca, and HGH, among others. Over $11,000 a month on performance enhancers, while preaching the opposite to millions. For someone who sold himself as the poster boy for ancestral living, it was nothing short of a betrayal. His apology video, though widely shared, fell flat. There was no full acceptance, just another round of showmanship. And now, with the Netflix documentary, it's clear he still doesn't understand what went wrong. Because it wasn't just about steroids, it was about trust. About building a brand on a lie and continuing to double down even after being caught. When a fitness influencer sells a product or lifestyle with the promise that you too can look like this, it matters how that body was built. The Liver King's refusal to acknowledge this, his repeated insistence that it's not about the message, proves that he either doesn't get it or doesn't care, and either option is a problem. What makes things worse is the spectacle. At one point in the documentary, the family sprints toward a freshly killed bull. Right there in the field, Johnson slices it open, pulls out the raw testicles, and offers them to his kids like they're party snacks. It's all recorded for TikTok, of course, with the mother giving camera directions and everyone pretending this is a normal Tuesday dinner. The boys look horrified. The younger one still tries to smile through it. The older one checked out completely. And yet, despite all of this, the exposure, the family strain, the public mockery, Johnson keeps going. He preaches about staying off phones while chasing TikTok virality. He talks about humility while insulting his critics, calling them gutless and weak. He mocks grocery stores and fast food while clinging to the influencer pipeline that funds his lifestyle. Every contradiction is layered on top of the last, like slabs of meat in one of his organ burgers. He even talks openly about his past scams. In college, he was reportedly printing fake money and selling drugs. At GNC, he did receipt fraud. These aren't harmless anecdotes, they're patterns. A consistent track record of grift dressed up as hustle. It's not about hard work. It's about how much can be sold before people catch on. Now, with plans to open over 300 retreat spaces where fans can come live the Liver King lifestyle, the hustle is clearly far from over. But the audience? They're not buying it like they used to. Engagement on social platforms is slipping and the numbers smell botted. What once looked like a grassroots movement now feels like a desperate attempt to maintain relevance. The $1 million fight challenge to Joe Rogan is the cherry on top. Rogan, known for his blunt honesty, already called out Liver King back in 2022. He mocked the ancestral tenets, said he's on testosterone, and didn't hold back. Johnson's response, filming himself in a fur hat and issuing a dramatic call-out, feels less like a warrior stepping into the ring and more like a clout-hungry stunt designed to hijack attention. Because if nothing else, Brian Johnson knows how to create a spectacle. But even the best show eventually runs out of applause. There was a time when the Liver King inspired curiosity, even admiration. People wanted to believe in a path away from processed food and screen time, but what started as a primal dream devolved into deception, excess, and ego. And now, all that's left is a man yelling into the digital void, hoping someone still cares. The career may not be dead yet, but denial is a powerful drug, and Brian Johnson is overdosing on it. If this breakdown hit the mark, share it with someone who's been watching the Liver King saga unfold. And if you think the story's over, just wait. There's always another organ to chew, another video to film, and another stunt around the corner. Like, comment, and subscribe for more real talk on the wild world of fitness influencers.